Honorable Paul Mwiru, do you see Among returning to Parliament?
Well, I've had the benefit of listening to my colleagues, and when you are in a certain position, you have limitation, but for the record, I think what we are dealing with, if I'd become the speaker, I would institute a human resource and financial forensic audit, because it would bring out what the issue is. And the system, as my colleagues have said, they audit systems, they don't audit individuals. Once systems are audited, they would bring out the flaws. Who was the gatekeeper, who did not actually do that. But also, when leaders act selfishly, budgets of committees were being managed by committees. And I happened to have been a leader in the Public Accounts Committee. Whenever, and they would initiate our budgets by work plans and budgets. We would show what we intend to do and how much money we received. You would share it with the members? Yes. Actually, we would share it with the members, and even the works we would do, it was definite. We would have a work plan and show them we are going to do ABCD in this period of time. Actually, what I even saw, which was not during, you see, when we were in leadership, even adjourning a committee meeting, it wouldn't be done by a chair. And you receive a phone call that Honorable Faith Lakut has adjourned the meeting. That it wouldn't have been that way. You would have to be in a meeting, as it had been called. Then you give reasons why you are adjourning a meeting. But things kept on going the other way. I want to say, one time, you know what she called whipping. The speaker, as you wanted to use our budgets to do patronage, a member who doesn't attend the committee would go and procure an invitation. And then they come to the committee, say, I want to go to somewhere. I said, but that's not within our work plan and budget. I refused. So a member cunningly went to the speaker, and before the speaker, I think, was fearing to say no, signed for others should travel. They went and traveled on our budget. We confronted the speaker. We said, you have a budget for travel. If you want to use the budget, please, next time, use your budget. Don't use our budget. Because you are promoting a culture that people don't come to do work and come to you to travel because they are saying, you see, they are members of parliament. Use your budget. That's how firm we were. Actually, we had even created an association in parliament of chairpersons, where I was the vice. That whenever there are issues, we thought audience with the speaker. Because like what we are dealing with, for instance, why partially I may agree with them, there is a parliamentary commission in the parliament. The speaker is just the chair of a parliamentary commission. Under no circumstance would the speaker override the commission unless they have acquiesced in some illegalities, that they have lost their powers of the commission. That's why, you see, when the National Unity Platform said that no, we are removing this, we are appointing another person. You see, she can't also go scot-free, however much she may have been maybe a darling of you people, because Bakiga knows that I have a history with her. You understand, which history cannot be rewritten. You understand, but when it comes to what we're supposed to do, because as a speaker, if an organization which played in the commission says, we have withdrawn Mwiru, we are now appointing Canary, what business do I have to say that, please, for me, I want Mwiru? You understand? Those points to excesses. That's why, actually, in leadership, no option is an option. Zero option is an option. That because you see, at the end of the day, all these issues keep on emerging. I think what we need to do...
Honorable, on the commission, just real quick, you also have a speaker who not just chaired, but also ran the commission like her personal entity. Two of the opposition representatives on the commission, the Honorable Zake and Joel Senyonyi, Honorable leader of opposition, never attended any committee sittings.
That's why
when there was a meeting, she only sent out invitations to the NRM members because they were the only ones who could agree to whatever direction the commission should take.
Actually, that was an irregularity. Of course, it also depends on the character of people. Because if you want legitimacy for the decision, that's why actually, you have not seen an invitation sent to Honorable Senyonyi to report at side headquarters or to IGG. You understand? Because we're not an accessory before, during, and after all whatever was taking place. But the point my sister Faith was making, I'm an opposition chief whip. I have a budget. I have the work cut out for me. If I allow, for instance, the speaker to overrun my function and what I'm supposed to do, and I keep quiet because tomorrow I may have a personal need, and go to the speaker and say, you see, my children maybe have been chased out of school, and then the speaker gives me something. That's what we're actually getting wrong. In my view, that's why I separate my relations with the members from the assignment I have to do as a leader. But you see, because you see, we are blaming, okay, we can blame Honorable Right Honourable Speaker Anita Among. But what about this team? Yeah. Because, if, for instance, in the Parliamentary Commission, they take minutes. You understand? But you see, because of this service award, like I was here, they would take a right minister and leave space to fit in some. Because the members had acquiesced themselves in what was taking place. So at the end of the day, we need to apportion the blame. She may take the big chunk of it, but there are also these people we put in offices. What were they doing? They were onlooking when all this was taken. That's why I said that if in terms of body become the speaker, the meaning of my 4-pillar point is that I would do a human resource and a financial. Then on the issue of recruitment, which my brother and sister were talking about, in the government there must be a structure. Parliament it has a structure. That structure is actually approved by public service, and they say this is the structure of Parliament. When you recruit over and above the structure, because that issue must also be debated, what's the structure of Parliament? When you recruit over and above the structure, then the question would be, how are they being paid? You understand? I saw that one when we were investigating one time KCCA. The public service gave a structure of KCCA. The guys who wanted to employ their people, those in my sister's party, they made sure they recruited 40%. Then the 60%, they started using contracts. They were using contracts. So they would recruit as per 40%, and then the 60%, the big chunk, it was allowed for people bringing the relatives, bringing the ABCD. Because if we want to address the human resource issue in the Parliament, you start by asking for structure. So how many staff do we have? And how many? Because it's actually, like what you said, it's not possible. I don't have a relative at Parliament, but I have friends who work there. But if today, as leadership of Parliament, we say, can we have a structure? And the Parliament Commission passed a resolution that we're only paying as per those in the structure. It wouldn't be an illegality. What personally I would not condone is, you see that now that the people have been doing it this way now, it has become a practice. Now I'm also a big person. I also have a relative. Should I also bring? And where? Because you understand. Because I'll also say by being opposition chief, I'm also a big person. Yes.
Well, let's take a break. Let's take a break.
I don't know where I take my relatives.
When we